So I'm here with Kathy Blackman of Sophie Circle. Hi, Kathy.
Hi,
Thanks for joining.
thank you. Thank you for having me.
First question is, I need a little history here. Tell me when you started, how you started, and how long you've been in rescue. Give me the bio.
Let's see, I started in 2008, but I started with a pet food pantry because if you remember, back then everybody was losing their homes. There was the big housing crash, and people were in desperate financial straits. So, what I was doing was trying to think of a way that they wouldn't have to surrender their dogs and cats. Even though I was not in the rescue business, I knew that there were an awful lot of dogs and cats being surrendered. So, I was trying to get in front of the problem and I started the pet food pantry. And back then, things were so bad, there would be a long line and people coming for the food. But I think I saved a lot of them from losing their homes. I like to think I did anyway. And so, anyway, after a couple of years of that, you just get into rescue by default. People are calling you, asking you, can you take this dog? Can you do this? Can you do that? Can you help? And so that was, I'm not sure what year it was, but I know that I'm over 4,500 dogs at this point.
How
That
many?
I 4,500
Okay.
and
Wow.
45,000.
4,500 is a big number.
It feels like 45 million.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, a lot of huskies, but all breeds, everything, you name it. And just trying to keep up with the demand. Just this morning, I had three calls just that they found strays before noon. Three. That's today. It's one day. It's like the constant. This is a new problem. This whole stray thing. This is brand new. This has been going on for months now, but it's brand new. And I think a lot of people are calling their own dogs strays just because they're desperate to get rid of them. Nobody's taking them. Everyone's full. So we definitely have a crisis, and it's going to be a full blown, out of control level 5 crisis very soon, where we're going to be like the Dominican Republic or Aruba, any of the places where there's packs of wild dogs roaming around and little kids tormenting them and throwing rocks at them, and just the horrors that goes hand in hand with feral dogs roaming around. We will have as many feral dogs as there are feral cats at some point soon, at the rate we're going.
Right. We're finding the same thing with the strays. Animal control will bring a stray and the owner won't pick it up. Even if
Right,
we know who the owner is, the owner will
right.
not come. They never come.
They never come.
No. And the other thing I know that we're getting is people coming in, like you just said, and pretending that this stray dog they found, and it's their dog.
It's their
And
dog, yeah.
and you probably get even more of that because you don't have an animal control officer going to follow up.
Yeah, it's really crazy. These people are saying to me with their own dogs, when I say we can't take it, they say, I tried this, I tried that. What am I supposed to do? And then they say, I'm just going to let it loose. And then I tell them that there's dire consequences, which I know there aren't. There's absolutely no consequences. But I tell them that there are because I'm hoping that I can make them stop and think. And I say, oh, I wouldn't do that. Oh, boy, they're going to catch you. You're going to be in big trouble. And they go, really? And I go, yeah. And I say, but just for the sake of the animal, why would you even consider doing something so terrible? Think of that. Think of the dangers out there. But they're doing it because they're not really caring. A lot of these people are losing their homes and they don't know what else to do. And they're leaving these animals behind in the homes. There's no consequences.
No, we get a lot of calls for animal control going out to landlords or finding dogs, cats in the home that people have just moved out and left them. And they clearly aren't worried about consequences because the landlord knows who they are. They know who they are.
But they don't do anything about it.
No, I
They don't
mean,
follow up. They don't call animal control. And even if they did, I don't think they would do a thing about it. They don't care.
no.
Yeah.
Besides no money, which we know the shelters and rescues are broke, medical bills are huge. What do you think the biggest problem right now? And it is a crisis. I called it that today in another talking with someone else. The sheer volume of homeless and abandoned animals is a huge problem. But what do you think the biggest contributing factor to that is?
Ooh, the fact that they're not enforcing spay and neuter laws. So they make it.
You took those words right out of my mouth.
You got to look. That's what I think is the biggest root problem. If they would enforce the spay neuter laws, like for instance, let's say you're a rescue local, and let's say that you're encouraging backyard breeders who are breeding desirable breeds, poodles, mini poodles, Frenchies, Maltese, Bichon, having option events weekly saying, look at me with my 18 or 25 really desirable puppies.
I would say
If the source was cut off, if you can't give somebody a conscience but you can enforce a law. And if
Right.
you made that person who's breeding these dogs stop, cut it off at the source, supply and demand. There's no more supply.
First, I would not call that a rescue. I would call that a business.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
selling puppies.
Yeah.
And we both have, I know exactly who you're talking about. We've experienced from them, they no longer chip. Most of these rescues, they call themselves rescues, don't chip anymore. So that when they bring the animal into the animal shelter, when it grows up and it isn't cute anymore,
Yeah.
we can't identify where it came from. Even when they tell us, and they never enter their phone because they're not taking them back if they're not resellable. They're not trained. They're not desirable anymore because they're not puppies. So that I agree is huge. That's not a rescue.
What is the largest of the animals coming into rescue? The most, if you had said, like, what is the average age of the most dumped dogs is 1 year old. Here we all are being bombarded and flooded with 1 year old dogs. So the people that are buying these are impulse purchases made very easy by having a huge supply of them in a general population area weekly. So the person is walking along, had no desire to buy a dog when they got out of bed that morning, but suddenly see this little, oh, I have to buy it, hand over the cash, walk away. Oh, that dog is going to lose its home when it is no longer this little, because they didn't research the breed, set out to get that dog. It wasn't like a burning desire that they were saving their money and waiting for the right moment. This was an absolute, I believe that this is an absolute impulse purchase made by the fact that everybody's standing around oohing and eyeing over these puppies that are in their little crates, and they're being puppies, they're being adorable, but they're coming into rescue at 1 year old. And that speaks volumes. I think that we can, so right there's too many. We're flooding the area. We just took Volusia County. We are literally saturating Volusia County with dogs being brought in from out of state. There's so freaking many that it's hard to compete. I have a puppy right now. I actually just got it. It's the last of a litter. I actually just got I got a text that the guy said he sent an application. He's eager to meet the dog. I'm hoping and praying because the dog is coming out of that first 8 to 12 week phase and going into the adolescent phase, which is
where they chew everything up and they're not that cute anymore.
Cute,
and they have to be trained. And
my little brindle pit mixes just don't compete with little mini poodles. Sorry, but they don't.
No, we don't. So we are, and I'm sure you probably have the same issue, is the older people. The second largest population of dogs that we're getting right now are seniors.
Yes.
Grandma loved her dog its entire life. Grandma passes away and cousin Jimmy drops it off at the shelter. And here we are now. We have this 8 or 10-year-old dog that's not in any way, we have to beg. You, I know, had a 13-year-old pit bull just adopted, but we have to beg to find people to take these senior dogs who have been wonderful dogs their whole life. They're perfect.
Yeah.
But nobody wants them.
Nobody wants them. Nobody wants them. Even older people. When I talk to older people, they say, I'm so lonely, I want a dog. I say, I have an 8-year-old. No, that's not what I want. I don't want to lose it. And I say, yeah, but it's got several years. It's not, no, I want something younger. And so it's a tough demographic. You're into that. Everybody wants a dog that they're going to get at least, I don't know, I guess at least 5 years out of. And they're thinking that this dog might not make it more than 2-3 years. It's tough. It's really tough with these older dogs. And a lot of people, there's a lot of people dying, going into hospital. Look at that Pyrenees I got yesterday. He went into the hospital and he's going to have a long road of rehab. I forget what happened to him because I talked to too many people in the course of the day and it all blurs together. But I know there's no way he can come home. So the Pyrenees, that's a 7-year-old Pyrenees that they got actually from me when it was a puppy, and heartbreaking. But he had a nice soft landing. He's with a family who absolutely loves him. And so far, so good. It's going well. But that's not the typical happy ending. That's the rare, every now and then it works out.
So you take your dogs back if something doesn't work out, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yes, we're finding this in the last checking around a little bit as we've been doing. We are finding that several rescues and a couple of animal shelters are now not taking back their adopted animals. which I can't, as I'm sure we found one of our cats for sale on the Facebook Marketplace page the other day, a Siamese cat.
Yeah.
That he didn't want anymore. He had an allergy. He had the cat 2 days.
Yeah.
If you had a cat for 2 days, why would you not call the place you got? Obviously, that was a poor adoption decision on our part. I feel like we failed in our adoption process of choosing that adopter, which I know you have pretty strict adoption policies.
But sometimes they fall through the cracks. You just don't know, what's written on paper.
They look good on paper, but then in reality, they're not so great.
That's right. And they do something like that. And that dog has to come back. I know you're the same way. I don't understand anybody doing this that would not want their dog back or their cats back.
Unfortunately, it's big. It's new. It's new now. It's a new thing that I've learned during the last couple of days. I had to do a little research on that, but
I can't say I'm thrilled when I get those phone calls.
No.
Usually you get those phone calls and you could
we don't want any.
Yeah, we're loaded up. We're already in crisis.
We have 100 cats right now in the building.
Wow.
And we have 50, we counted them up today. We have 50 cats and kittens in foster, moms and babies in foster. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen there, but our dogs right now, we've been the adoptions are down, donations are way down. I was doing a year-over-year analysis yesterday, and then I did a 2-year analysis, and we're about half from 2 years ago, our donations are about half. From last year, they're down 2/3. And they've gone extremely down in the last 2 months.
Yes, exact same. I was thinking about it just a little while ago as I was driving home. I was thinking about how it is and how there's no hope on the horizon. Usually you can be in your head thinking there's this big check coming, or I know these people pledged something, or there's nothing. There's nothing out there.
That's where we are too. We do, and I know you do too, we do have very good community support.
Yes.
But right now, the community is they're in the same kind of situation that we're in, where we had Boston Whaler was giving us money every year. Boston Whaler's laying people off. We're relying on yappy hours and begging for cat litter and things like that. That's what we're right now with the situation that we're in. And obviously we work with you, trading dogs and medical bills and that kind of thing. But what's your biggest need that you have right now? If you were besides money, because that's our first biggest need. I had someone ask me today, what is the biggest thing that you need? Is it volunteers? Is it material goods? What is
Fosters. Specifically fosters. Yeah, because to get these dogs somewhere, somebody said to me today, I'm coming down to look at your dogs today. And I said, you're going to have a tough time doing that because they're spread all over the county into Orlando and up into Jacksonville. I said, you can't do that. I said, the dogs are in private homes. And a lot of people don't understand that concept. They can't wrap their head around what we're doing. They want to know, where are you? I want to see your location. I want to see the guy that just surrendered the 4 husky puppies that I just adopted. He insisted I said, I'll send somebody up to pick them up. He was in Pearson. No, I want to see your facility. I said, no, you don't understand. There's nothing to see. And they just don't get that. It doesn't make sense, like how you could do this essentially from my phone. I'm running a rescue from my phone, and yet it's hard. There's a lot of moving parts to it. But the thing is, the fosters are the only way that I can keep doing this, because without a foster, I could get 5 phone calls for 5 dogs that I would really like to help. And if I don't have a single available foster, that's 5 dogs that I have to say, I'm sorry, I can't do it. There's nothing I can do, because I literally have nowhere to put those dogs. There's no holding area. There's nothing. So you have come to my aid and rescue countless times. And I thank you. You know how grateful I am to you for that, because it literally saves that dog's life. And I was like, now here's the dog. Okay, now that gives me time to think.
When I get the message, I have a situation. That's the Kathy message. I have a situation. Oh, and does that situation involve me housing a dog for a couple of days? Because usually it does. I know that routine. I got that one down. But that's okay, because if I have 4 animal control agencies, you're first on the list, because you always support us when we need something. And I think it is a predicament that we're in, crisis that we're all in. I think if we don't collaborate and support each other,
we
nobody's
won't
gonna
get
make
through
it.
it.
Not gonna make it.
We
And
have to absolutely lean on each other and prop each other up because our goals are the same. Our goals are identical. There's nothing and there's no glory in this. There's nothing in this other than every dog that gets into its home and makes it to that safe place is a score. It's the whole point. And it's going to
like
get,
the
I
lottery.
predict the road ahead is going to be
Very bad. We
worse.
have a county shelter that contacted us for some, believe it or not, they didn't have any standard operating procedures for, it's a brand new, it's not a new shelter, but the leadership left. They left. And less is what's happening. People can't take it anymore and they're leaving. So they called and said, I happen to know the person who took over. It's in Montana, obviously, the other state I work in. And they said, can you send me your adoption application, and I was like, what are you talking about? You do not have this? And they said, no, before you could basically walk in with a driver's license, fill out your information and walk out with a dog.
Wow.
And I know a lot of places are like that, open adoption. It's less frequent than it used to be, but they're desperate to get these dogs out. So I said to her, I'm going to send you all my stuff, everything, and I'm going to send a photographer over there to take pictures, which I sent my Montana social media photographer over there to take pictures so you can post your dogs. How many dogs do you have? And I've seen the building. I've been by this building. I've never been in it. I'm going there in 2 weeks. I'm going there. And you've been in my shelter, and I have been one building. We have 30 dog kennels, and in another building, we have 30. This building is half the size of my one building. She has 67 dogs, and 40 of them are puppies. And so I sent my photographer over there, and she took some amazing, beautiful, the pictures are incredible. And she was sending me these pictures, and I was like, how many puppies are there? And they're Pyrenees, it's farm country out there. And she's trying to change the way they're doing it so that they're not just handing these dogs over to basically these puppies that we're just handing over to whoever. And there is the other problem that we see is here, take a dog. Here, take this dog. That's with the rescue that we're talking about before. Here, just take this dog. If you have $300 and a driver's license, I'm going to give you and an ID. Half the time it isn't even, I'm going to give you this dog here, fill this form out. And that's what they were doing. And they weren't even spaying and neutering them before they left or arranging any of that. None of that was happening. Therein lies the other problem is, I understand there has to be open adoption centers. If you're an open intake and you're having to take from everybody, you almost have to be open adoption. Right. But that creates another whole set of problems because they're not, can you hear my dog? Stop playing. Creates another whole set of problems. Yeah. And in talking to all these other shelters, I've been talking to a lot of them with this little project I'm doing here that you're now part of, there is no consistent processes in place in the small to medium shelters. It's a free for all. Yeah. I don't know what to do. Right. So I do whatever. And that's all the people all the ones I've talked to, and I've reached out to several, they're either brand new, they just started. And I remember, and you remember when I started this job, I had not a freaking clue what I was getting myself into. Yeah. I didn't know how to run an animal shelter. I knew how to run a business, but not an animal shelter. And if I hadn't had a really good animal control officer and a good vet and found some good staff, I would have been just like these other people out there floundering. They don't know what to do. And with the current situation that we've got where the intake is we probably this morning by noon had 12 calls. Yeah. For cats, for dogs. I found this dog. You're going to have to call animal control. And I also think that the secret word that people think is going to get their dog into the shelter is it's aggressive. Yeah. My dog's aggressive. My dog bit my dog. And they think we have to take it. Yeah. But we don't. And then we don't take it because we don't have to take it. And now you've signed that dog's death warrant by saying this dog's aggressive. Yeah. Okay. You need to call animal control. And that dog's probably not going to get out alive. Is the dog really aggressive? That's what we're saying to people now. Is it really? Because if you're lying, you've just killed your dog. Yeah. Of everything that I hate, I'm going to say right there, you nailed my biggest pet peeve when people lie about their dog. Because the dog can't say, yo, I'm not aggressive. What are you talking about? And you have so many times signed that dog's death warrant. Right. You almost had one today you pulled that was supposed to be aggressive. Dog was going to die. Dog's not aggressive.
Dog is as sweet as can be. You have to take so many factors. If somebody's accusing the dog of being aggressive, what's the situation? Is
Why?
the dog, what is going on? Look at
Is
the
it
environment.
scared? Could it be scared?
Yeah.
Could it be hungry? Could it be
I mean,
hot?
I'm not a fan of aggressive dogs. Don't get me wrong here. Aggressive dogs scare me just as much as they scare the next person. I don't like when people say a dog's aggressive when it's not, just to get themselves out of a problem.
And we've had with that, we have that a lot. We have a 140-pound Mastiff in our shelter right now that the man came in to euthanize, 2-year-old, and he came to euthanize it. And my vet tech looked at me and said, I'm not euthanizing this dog. It's not aggressive. And it was scared, and he was setting it up to fail. Oh, I took it to Tractor Supply, and the lady tried to pet it and went after her. Of course it did, you freaking idiot. What are you in? And on the flip side, there is the ones who try to dump the one, they don't tell you they're aggressive.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, I've got this adorable collie or whatever it may be. Oh, yeah, that one. And now here you are, or I am, and we've adopted them. We keep them. We can usually determine, because we've got to do all the vetting and all that.
Right.
You and I've had dogs together that you've sent to me for vetting, and I've said to you, this dog's not going to make it because it's mean. Right. But nobody tells us that. They don't say, oh, I'm trying to get rid of this dog, because I've had animal control officers call me about dogs that people have surrendered to me and said, that dog's out of quarantine. I'm like, nobody told me. So it goes both ways. The ones they're signing their death warrant, or if they should perhaps be euthanized for being aggressive, we don't know. So it's really a lot of flying blind right now in this world.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah. You don't want to do the dog wrong. You don't want to ever do, but by the same token, you don't want to have the dog take somebody's face off.
No.
It is a fine line. It's hard. It's hard to really know. There's more to this than people could even begin to imagine. And you're doing your best. You're in it doing your best, you're making hard decisions all day long. Most of them, it's definitely not for the weak.
No. And I had someone years ago when I first started and it's not even somebody I really like very much. I don't like her very much at all. Said to me when I first started, she said, if you always try to err on the side of the animal, that's the best that you can do. I've never forgot that. And I've always tried.
Yeah.
When we do in our dealings with the animals, we try to do the best because, for example, we have one now. And I almost asked you, can you help me get this dog out? And then Stacy, my kennel manager, who you know is very good, she said, I don't think that it's fair to this dog to put it somewhere. It's unhappy. And it's not unhappy because it's in the shelter. It's had a shit life, and we've had it in foster. We brought it back to the shelter. Is it fair for that dog to live for the next year in a kennel? It's not. So every day there's decisions like that too, with what is best for the animal we're dealing with.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many times I've said it, and I know I've heard you say it, when someone comes in and they're giving me a line of garbage, I'll be like, I don't really care about you. I care about that dog right there. I don't care. I don't care about your feelings.
I know. How many times do we say that? And it's true. I listen to people and I'm thinking, I don't care. I care about your dog. That's it. But and that's how we get ourselves
into Yeah, I know. The message. I have a situation. I appreciate you taking the time to
My pleasure.
Talk about rescue with me. And it's not like we don't talk every day, but this is work in an official capacity. 4,500 is a lot of rescues. I gotta say, I'm even shocked by that number. And we've been involved together for 10 years. Yeah. Known each other for 15 probably. Yeah. And I didn't know that number was 4,500. I knew it was a lot, but I didn't know it was that many. That's a lot of dogs.
It comes up, it starts to snowball. It's so you're doing 500 a year, 600 a year, and next thing you know, you're at 20 years.
20 years.
20 years. 20 years, yes.
When are you going to retire?
That's a question I ask myself a lot.
Same. I have 2.5 years left on my contract, so we'll see. I'm under a contract.
We'll retire together. We'll make that our goal. We'll do like a Thelma and Louise exit.
Drive off the cliff.
With dog decals on our car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, my friend. Thank you so much.